Hi everyone. The winter is here, and most of you have the issue with the radiators. So, like if the radiator is not heating properly, the first thing we do is the bleed. So, today I'm going to show you how to bleed the radiator and why we need to bleed it. So, this is the radiator, it's a towel rail. So, when you touch the radiator, when you feel the towel rail or the radiator, if the bottom part is hot and the top part is cold, then it's bleeding. The reason why, the air always rises up. So where the water is, it remains hot, and where the air is, it remains cold. So once we bleed it, the air will escape from the radiator and it will fill with the hot water, and then the radiator starts working. So why we need to do the radiator? Like I've said, the radiator, the air doesn't get hot. So your radiator, if it's full of air, it doesn't get hot. Another, if there is air on the system or air in the air in the system, let's say if you have lots of air in most of the radiator, then the system, your boiler doesn't work properly. It might have a circulation issue. Another reason is the noise. If there is air on the system or air in the radiators, lots of radiators, then it might be noisy. Okay, so let us start. So these are the tools I normally use to bleed the radiator. So this is flathead screwdriver, spanner, bleeding key, and this is the bleeding key as well. So these are the tool I normally use. If the bleeding knot is like this, then you can use most of the tool. Then you can use this bleeding key. You can use this flathead spanner. You can use this multi-key as well, and you can use the spanner. So normally, like we use the spanner if this bleeding key is naked, means if you can't bleed it with uh, with the bleeding key, then what we do, we just open the knot a little bit and just release the air from there. But just be careful, if the radiator is really old, it might leak. Okay, so let's start. So on this radiator, I can feel, the bottom part is hot and the top part is a little bit cold. So I'm going to use this key, and make sure you put like a paper or something around, when it like when the water comes, the water, it might be really black. So you hear the sound. Yeah, once you see the water, just turn it off. Okay, so this is another radiator. So even here you can use this bleeding key, use this keep it is split it, but I think like if when it's new, it should work really well. You can use this flathead screwdriver, and you can use this spanner. So this is Rothenberg small spanner. This is really handy, even in other radiators, when the bleeding key, when it slips, then you can use this spanner, and then you can bleed the radiator. Yeah, here you can see the hissing sound. Okay, so the system I have is a combi boiler. So I have bleeded some radiators. So when we bleed the radiator, the pressure on the boiler, it drops. And when it drops to zero, then we have to top it up. Like every time when we bleed the radiator, it drops the pressure on the combi boiler or the system boiler. And again, we have to repressurize the system, bleed the radiator, and just make sure the pressure on your boiler is correct. Just to make it tight once you see the water. So on this radiator, I think nothing happens. So onto the screw. Yeah, so once you see the water, turn it off.